No, I want to thank you guys for being here. You know, I really appreciate all the familiar faces to see in the crowd. Now I'm starting to feel it's softball season. I didn't really feel it until this past Sunday, so that feels good. And I see a couple of new faces. So I want to welcome you guys to softball and baseball. I say this every year, but I, for one, am so thankful that you're here because the growth of our sport has been tremendous over the past 5 to 10 years, and we couldn't have that if it weren't for all of the media. And as a woman working in female sports, it's just remarkable to see what we've done. And then when I couple that, and as a part of the Big Blue Nation, the fact that you guys cover us, you're really helping to bring more people into the fold. And so we have a great following within the Big Blue Nation's faithful, and it's really just helped this softball team continue to grow. So we get started off on Friday. We're going to be in Clearwater. It's going to be a great tournament for us. As you know, the last 2 years we've had the number one strength of schedule. It's definitely a philosophy of ours. I don't know that you ever want to win number one strength of schedule, but you know, we always play a tough one, and this year is no different. We're going to open up this weekend. You know, game one, Liberty is picked to win their league, and their head coach is a former Olympian, one of the best softball players of all time. She brings a lot of passion, energy to the sport, so I anticipate this is going to be a tough game for us because I know her teams will do the same thing. And then, in addition, we're playing other 5 teams, of which Minnesota was in the Women's College World Series last year. And then, in addition, we will play the U.S. national team. And for people who love the sport of softball, the United States is absolutely by far the best in the world at the sport of softball, and it's every kid's dream to one day be on a national team and also to play against the national team. So that's going to be a really fun event for us, and one that, you know, we couldn't script it any better. So we're going to open up with that. You know, Chris alluded to before, this is my 13th year, so we're hoping that's lucky number 13. And I've had the same coaching staff complete for 10 seasons, if you include Molly Johnson. And with that said, Coach Himes has been with me the entire 13. And then this year we're bringing back Brittany Cervantes, who's taken on a full-time position as our Director of Operations. But she's also a part of the Mexican national team, so she will be part of the Olympics this year. So we're really proud to bring her back into the fold. I think the biggest question that I keep getting asked is, you know, how are you going to replace last year's senior class? And it's something that, you know, obviously we think a lot about, but with our program, I've never thought about how do we replace players. I always think about who's going to be the successor, who's going to be the next one. And this is no different for us. You know, it's going to be hard to succeed when you had 3 SEC all-performers leaving, but I feel really good about this program. I mean, we've been to 3 straight NCAA appearances, Women's College World Series. We've been to 7 Supers, 4 straight regional appearances, of which the last 3 that we've hosted, we've been undefeated. In fact, 5 of the 8 games, we've run-ruled those teams. And I think that's in large part to, it's so tough to play in front of the Big Blue Nation. So the question I don't have is, you know, how are we going to replace them? My question is, who is going to be the next successor that's going to take us to become a top 8 national seed? Because that's one of our goals this year, is we've got to make sure that we're doing what we can to get a top 8 national seed. We've been a national seed a number of years, but the thing that's going to help us be a mainstay in the World Series is to become a top 8 national seed every single year. You know, when I think about who's going to be the successor, I was so impressed with our sophomore class coming back this fall. I didn't know what to expect out of them. A lot of them did not get a significant amount of playing time last year, and so you never know when someone goes away for break and they come back how that's going to be. And I was just floored by what I saw. They came back. First thing we always do is max testing in the weight room. And I was so impressed specifically with Renee Abernathy, J.C. Babs, Tatum Spangler, and Megan Shorman. They went back this summer, took what a little experience they had, and they came back, and they really set the tone for what was an incredible fall for us. Then I think about our infield, and obviously we're returning Alex Martins and we're returning Mallory Payton, who were everyday starters for us, and that's a great, strong right side of the infield. So I feel good about where they are. Lauren Johnson is somebody who's been a mainstay in our lineup for us. She will move from the outfield into the shortstop position, which is something I know that she's been very excited to do. She came to me in our end of the year meeting last year. She's like, so where do you want me to practice, next year or this summer? And I was like, well, take some fly balls. She goes, what about shortstop? And I was like, all right, well, make sure you take some ground balls at shortstop, do what you need to do. She's a shortstop by trade, one of the best players who's ever played high school ball in Kentucky. And she not only went out and did an incredible job, but she came back in the best shape of her life. So I know she's excited about that. Emmy Blaine, also from the state of Kentucky, you can see her at shortstop, has some of the best hands that we've ever had out of anybody. So I feel good about where they're at. From an outfield perspective, we return Bailey Vick. She'll probably be a mainstay out in left field. She is one of the best defensive players in all of the SEC. She is so exciting. She can dive and get balls in front of her. She can get balls at the wall. She's got unbelievable range out in the outfield, and she's continued to work very hard at the offensive side of the game. You know, her freshman year, she was unbelievable offensively. Last year, with the rule changes, with the things that happened in the box, that was a little tough for all slappers in the country. But I know she's done an amazing job with that, really has shown herself. So I'm looking forward to what she can do. Kayla Kowalik, who was in center field a lot last year, you're going to see her behind the dish quite a bit. She'll make the move. That's her natural position, is to be a catcher. But our team last year was stronger with Jenny Shaper behind the dish, and then Kayla out in center field. So you'll see her make the move into catching. And then we also brought in two outstanding catchers in Cassie Lindmark and Gabby Dieters, who are also great. So we have unbelievable depth in the catching position, and everyone who's followed Kentucky softball knows that is probably the hardest position to play in all the country, is the catcher at the University of Kentucky. So I demand a lot of them, and I believe these three will respond. We have 7 newcomers in total. You know, and I didn't know what to expect out of them either, but then this fall, I thought, honestly, we were going to be pretty terrible. And we went out, we played 5 Power 5 teams. We went out, we won all the games, and I was shocked and kind of disappointed because I couldn't really yell at the team, because I thought for sure I was going to be able to, you got to do this better, and you got to do this better. And they were so dynamic out on the field. It was almost surreal. I didn't understand what I was looking at. And a lot of that had to do with with Riley Smith, who came in. She is just, when the lights go on, and there's just something different about her. You don't see that in many athletes. She really enjoys playing on game day. She has the ability to stay in the moment and to just block out all distractions. She's incredibly fast. She's very powerful. Very exciting freshman to watch. In addition, in the freshman class, I alluded to already our 2 catchers, Emmy Blaine, but you also have Miranda Stoddard, Sloan Gahan, and I already said Emmy Blaine. So we have a great staff, our freshman crew that's going to come in. And then finally, when you talk about the pitchers, we're returning 5 pitchers. Obviously, Grace Ballman and Autumn Humes had the majority of the pitching time, but Megan Shorman was arguably our best pitcher this fall. And then you look at the depth that we bring with Larissa Spellman, Tatum Spangler being our only left-handed pitcher in the lineup, and then the 2 freshmen, Miranda Stoddard and Sloan Gahan. So we're very deep in the pitching circle, which is where I believe we need to make the largest jump this season. So with that said, that's pretty much how we're shaking up right now.
Rachel, you're going to have a fast team this year.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of team speed. How fun is that going to be, designing the lineup, and do you have that batting order set yet?
Yeah, that's a great question. We had a coaches clinic on Saturday, and I made a mock lineup to kind of show them what you could do with the lineup, and I was like, oh. And then even Coach Hines in the back was like, okay, here you go, big girl. Like, are you going to make the lineup? Or are you going to put in there? And she was curious. You know, obviously, I use both of my coaches. We talk about who's going to be there, but at the end of the day, the head coach has to have the say. And, you know, the top of the order seems to be, the question is who's going to protect Alex Martins. That's going to become the big question, because everyone knows that Alex is the best hitter coming back. She's our leading RBI hitter. She's somebody who's good under pressure. She's actually, you know, every team has a compass. Every team has a person who's their true north, and Alex is ours. So, like, who's going to protect her? That's where the question comes in. So, you know, you could see Lauren Johnson right now has an unbelievable eye, and she's done a great job making solid contact. Her deal right now is she's working on when she makes contact, can she do damage with that? So she's looking like to be somebody in the top of the order. Kowalik obviously is somebody who I would prefer at the top of the order, but she very easily could move to a spot behind and protect Alex, because you have to have somebody unbelievable at that spot. Because if they're going to walk her, then we're going to have to have somebody that can make them pay, you know. And then you got Mallory Payton, who's done an unbelievable job. and then Riley Smith. So those are the ones who like constantly statistically are day in and day out get it done. And then the cool thing about this team is the bottom of our order is going to be able to turn things over very, very quickly. So then you look at, Renee Abernathy's done a great job and incredibly fast. That's a name you could get used to. JC Babs has done an unbelievable job with her pitch selection, and so she's somebody at the bottom of the order that's just that person you hate to pitch to because she just doesn't swing outside of the zone. And then our freshman, Dieters has Abby Cheek power. So, and that's quite something. She mishits balls over the right center fence, and you don't see that very often. So when she gets comfortable with pitch selection and things like that, she's going to be one of the best hitters who've ever played here. So right now it was the 5 I mentioned earlier, but to be honest with you, I seriously doubt the team that starts day one is going to be it for the rest of the season. I think that everybody has value on this team, and it's a matter of creating that value. When their opportunity arises, they have to take advantage of it. 10.
Autumn and Grace have the most experience in the circle. Just talk about them and what do you expect from them this season?
Grace has hit a new level this year. If you look at the rules, the pitching changes have been helpful with that, in that she doesn't have to keep both feet on the rubber anymore. And when you're 6'2" and that tall, that's absurd. So I'm glad that rule changed. And I think that has helped her, but also because I know she was disappointed that she had been hurt at the end of last season, and she came back this fall, and we have an unbelievable training staff, and they did a great job getting her back, and now she's full go, and her pitches are just breaking all over the place. And she's also a very mature person. She's one of the smartest people I've ever met, so I know that that's really helped her now that she's a junior. Autumn Humes is, you have your leaders on the field and you have your leaders off the field. She's been a great leader for us off the field. She does a great job of keeping the team together. We have great team culture, and teams say that all the time, but that's been probably one of our program's strengths, and Autumn has done a great job with that tradition. And she knows what she wants to do. Autumn has, she's been to national championships. She's had a lot of awards. She knows what she wants to accomplish. So I think she's important because someone like Megan, who is incredibly talented, doesn't have that experience at the college level yet. And so you're going to have to lean heavily on Autumn and Grace to get that done. And then, of course, the freshmen also, who are unbelievable talent. Stoddard throws harder. Her and Megan throw the hardest for us. And once Stoddard it becomes more precise, she's going to be somebody to reckon with as well. So Autumn's experience will help them out quite a bit.